Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. Granblue Fantasy Versus is now out properly for everyone, including a handy-dandy free-to-play version with a rotating cast. That's cool. And I figure now that the game's properly out, we already had some guides on the channel. Check those out. They'll be linked in the video description at the end of the video as well. But I figure let's give you a video here that is 10 essential tips for Granblue Fantasy Versus Rising. So these are going to be tips that are just going to help you out of your understanding of the game, how to play the game, and also maybe how to win at the game. Some a little bit more obvious, some maybe not so much, but we're going to go through them all. Now, as you would expect on the channel, there'll be timestamps to everything, so skip forward to whatever makes sense for you. Leave a like if you could as well, because, you know, likes sincerely do help the video. It's not a lie. It's not a gimmick. It really does. So thank you for that. But yeah, so let's get started here with our first of our 10 essential tips. Now, tip number 1 is universal defense. Use it. Granblue Fantasy Versus is a game where people have strong universal defensive options. That is specifically back and block is our spot dodge, forward and block is our roll. And they're both invincible. And they both afford you opportunities to not let you beat yourself up. Because say there's that zoning coming your way, and there's a lot of characters with strong zoning in this game, right? And you know, most fighting games you're tempted to do the jump thing, which is bad sometimes, and we'll show you an example. But in this game, instead of doing that, you can just say, nah, I don't want to, you know, like I don't participate in your game here. Now, the backward spot dodge here, back and block, is invincible. Frame 1 full body invincibility. So if you don't want to cede ground, you just say, you see it? Nah, I'm not dealing with it. That's a good option. It really is a good option because all it does at worst is just kind of reset the neutral. That's all it is, right? You didn't commit to something that has a potential amount of risk to it. Versus, say, a roll, very low risk. The one thing about a roll is it's not frame 1 invincible like the spot dodge is, which only really matters more if you're doing it as like a defensive way on wake up. But still, it's a good way to gain a little bit of ground without being unsafe by, say, jumping, which is the traditional way to get around a fireball that you don't want to block. Now, in 2023, just like it was in 1991 with Street Fighter 2, jumping the fireball could actually be the worst thing you ever did if the opponent is baiting you into it. Fireball, cool, I'll jump, oh, I'm dead. Yes, that is very much how this can work in this game. A lot of characters with fireballs, they expect you, they hope you jump, right? So do not fall for the trap. You can stay on the ground with a spot dodge or a roll, and either way it will work, and you can slowly gain your ground. Be patient, because a lot of characters in this game prey on you being impatient. They want you to be impatient because they'll blow you up for it. So keep in mind those universal defensive options. Now, for our second tip, we're going to have frame data turned on because it's all about the frame data, and you should turn on the frame data regardless. That'll be a tip, bonus tip, I guess. Turn on the frame data. It'll help you out. But we're specifically going to be talking about light attacks, running light attacks. Every character has a running light, a running medium, and a running heavy. And for the most part, like especially the medium and heavy can be pretty different character to character. But running light has one universal concept across all characters. Running light attack is always, no matter what character you're picking, advantage on block. If you go for running light, you will always recover before them. Therefore, if we both mash buttons at the same time after the fact, you are always going to win. Being advantage on block is a very powerful trait in any fighting game, let alone Granblue. And in Granblue, there is not too many sources of advantage frames, and this is one every single character gets. And for some characters, it matters more than others, right? For a pressure character, they want to keep their pressure. That's a good way to do it. For a character that's big and slow, like say Vasaraga, this is one of the ways, okay, I finally got in, I want to stay in, I don't want to lose the opportunity. This is something that lets me hold you in place. Every character will find massive benefit out of run light. And you can attack, like you little hit forward light, right? You don't have to go into a full run or anything like that. Another big advantage of run light is almost always it's going to be +6. And +6 for most characters means it'll usually go into their stand light or their crouch light. So for Vasaraga, I can do run light, then into a crouch light to Link, and then from there, get a little bit of a combo going. Maybe it's not going to be the biggest combo, not the biggest reward, but small combo on hit, it's still your turn if it's blocked. So it's hard to overstate how overwhelmingly powerful this universal mechanic is. Some people benefit more than others, but everybody benefits. So there's nothing not to love here. Run light, use it a lot. So a big part of this game is we have easy inputs. We have the skill button, right? It'll do moves for you without any motion. Like normally, say, we have a 360 pile driver style move. We'd have to do the motion, right? And instead, I can just do it at the cost of a single button press, nothing else. And the only penalty is there's a slight damage reduction, 10% across the board. Okay, sure. Some people get in their head, well, if I want to get good at the game, I shouldn't use the easy input. And I understand where that comes from. I really do. But in this game specifically, they intend you to use easy inputs even at the highest level of play for a multitude of reasons. So for one, if you're newer or you struggle, like, hey, not everyone can do the 360 motion, right? That's fair enough, fair enough. And be able to take away that motion, just press one button and get it, big benefit. So on that and this face alone, if that helps you, just do it. Once again, small damage nerf, like 10%, it sucks, I guess, but it's not the biggest deal. One of the best things about the easy input is, well, the fact that it's instant. Say in a situation, someone's jumping at you and you have whatever dedicated anti-air special move, right? But just the simple act, for a lot of characters, it'll be something like forward, down, down, forward, like the uppercut motion, the Shoryuken motion, right? If you're even a little bit slow, you can get blown up, right? Just the fact of you doing the motion takes a couple frames of animations to do. And those extra couple frames can be the difference between you getting hit or not. However, if you use the easy input, just being a couple frames faster, just this small frame differential can mean the difference between you getting hit and you hitting the enemy, right? Frames save lives. Even if it's just a split second, it can be the difference between life or death. Once again, like this move here, Ladiva, the anti-air, has no invincibility. Like it's not like a Shoryuken, it's an anti-air move, yes, but the only way you get it is by being fast enough. So if I lose 10% damage, but my chance of getting the move off is drastically going up, I will gladly take the 10% damage penalty, right? When it comes to matters of defense, don't worry about the damage, worry about the matter of speed. So yes, easy inputs can just make your life easy on the fact that it's easy inputs, right? If you have difficulty doing motions, sure, use them in it, whatever, right? But in matters where split second defense really matters a lot, just swallow your pride, use the easy input, because it literally can be the difference between you winning or losing the match. Another thing I see some people struggle with is the concept of cooldowns. Not that the concept is hard, right? Like, if you do a heavy/EX move, you invoke a cooldown on the move, and while the cooldown is live, like, you cannot do anything until it comes back, right? And light and medium versions, for the most part, don't invoke any cooldown. And also, ultimate versions of a move have a little bit of a cooldown, usually not as extreme as the heavy version, just because it also takes some of your meter. The thing is, people don't want to do it because, like, well, I always want my move available to me, right? Like, if I want to toss my little sheep buddies, if I did the heavy version, well, that's cool. It's legitimately a better move than the default. I can't toss my little sheep buddies anymore, right? Like, that sucks. But I'm here to tell you, like, you gotta get over that concept. Like, you gotta use your tools when they're available to you. So let's look at it this way. Tossing out the EX sheep from full screen. It's not particularly great in and of itself as a projectile. Was this the smartest investment of burning that cooldown? No, probably not. So in this situation, yeah, don't use it. Use your regular sheep. They do their job good enough, right? But if you're, say, beside your enemy, then all of a sudden, you have the opportunity, it's time to take it. Like, if I want to do a combo here and I'm not burning any of my cooldowns, like mid-screen, you really do not get much. Unless you're willing to spend something. But, once again, let's look at that EX sheet. But now, if I'm close, I get my hit in, right? If I use my EX sheep, I can then link into my standing jab. If I'm doing a combo, right? And then from there, I can get even further, bigger combos, further dividends. So it's very much in my benefit to burn that limited time resource now. Because I'm getting a lot more damage mid-screen than I ever otherwise would, right? And in fact, by the end of the combo, the cooldown's almost already back, right? So when you get your big opportunities, burn those resources. Yeah, the cooldown sucks, everything, sure, whatever. But you're not going to get many opportunities past that. Like, if you get the big cool corner combo, you better believe you are now in the time where it's time to start burning those resources, right? You want to get as much damage in as you can. Yeah, maybe you'll wait a little bit on the cooldown after the combo's over, but, you know, during the combo, a lot of that cooldown is going to recover itself anyways, and you're trying to maximize your damage. And of course, invoking a cooldown can help out regardless, right? Just mid-screen sometimes. Like Anila, her ultimate projectile sheep, It's actually incredibly difficult to avoid for a multitude of reasons. You can't do the crossover on it, the roll. You can, well, you can, but it's difficult to jump it due to the fact that there's 3 different sheeps with all different timings, right? So this is something that's worth doing every now and then. And the cooldown is not that bad either, right? So it's all about just assessing the risk of losing the move. And is it worth it to lose the move for a while? Usually in a combo, the answer is almost always going to be yes. And in mid-screen, sometimes the answer is also going to be yes. So case by case, but yeah, don't be scared to do it. The moves are more powerful for a reason, right? That's why there is the cooldown. So you got to use them, otherwise you lose them. So we got a lot of new mechanics in Rising, and one of those new ones is the Raging Strike, which is effectively a guard break, which is very powerful. And one of the things about it is it costs a bravery point, those crystals at the top here above your life bar. And if you break them, it will break one of theirs too, right? So you're both going down, and in case you are unaware, once you're down 2 guard points, you take more damage. And if you're down all 3, you take a lot more damage. And basically what I'm here to tell you is don't guard break yourself into your own game over. A guard break is much more valuable later in a match than it is at the beginning, specifically because of the cost. Because when you go for it, you are always guaranteed to lose one of your bravery points. The enemy isn't. Like, say for the benefit of doubt, you're already down 1 bravery point, right? And then we go for our, guard break. Oh, you're blocking? Cool, gotcha. Oh, you evaded it. And they're going to get a guaranteed combo on you. And that combo, now that you're down 2 bravery points, is going to do more damage than it would have otherwise. So it already sucks, but now it sucks a bigger layer on top of that because you put yourself in this position, right? So while it's a very powerful mechanic, keep in mind that if you go for it too much, especially, if you're already down a bravery point and they reverse in any way, you can be screwed. There are ways to recover bravery points, which we'll actually talk about later in the video, but being down is a very big deal in this game. So basically, when you're going for those guard breaks, make sure you mean it. Because if the enemy's on the ball and they evade it, or otherwise doing something invincible through it or whatever, you more than turn the tables on yourself. Bravery points are a very powerful resource. They want you to use them. Guard breaks are very powerful, especially because if you spend a little meter, they can lead to a full combo. But they also carry a distinct weakness of, you can be countered, and the counter is probably going to hurt a lot more than you think. Now, our next tip is about meter, and specifically how fast meter builds. Literally everything you do other than like walking backwards, because even walking forward just builds meter in this game. Attacking, getting hit, doing everything. Meter builds so fast in this game at a ridiculous pace. Look, like I barely did anything. We already have half a bar, right? Half a bar gets you an ultimate skill in this game, and obviously a full bar gets you a super. So the next tip here is simply spend the meter. Meter builds faster in Granblue than almost any other fighting game, and to a ridiculous pace. So spend the meter. Don't hold on to it. It's not like Street Fighter where you want to hold on to your meter for like that critical moment. Not to say there can't be examples of this in this game, but the meter builds so fast, you spend it and it's going to build all the way back up again. Doubly so for things like ultimate skills. So ultimate skills, when you do them, if you do them in neutral specifically, so we have about half a bar here, right? I'm going to do my ultimate skill, should take 50%. Gets blocked, oh, we get a refund. You actually get refunds on ultimate skills if you do them in neutral. It's going to be 12% on block, which is a lot. And if it actually connects, then it's going to be even crazier because it's going to be a full 25%, meaning your ultimate skill actually only costs 25% in the end, right? So your ultimates spend because they're cheap effectively. And once again here, your basic meter builds so fast, man. If you get any combo, there effectively should be no reason, if you're at 100% meter, to not do a super at the end of the combo. Because it's free damage, basically. It's a lot of damage. And you're going to build that meter back. You're going to be ready to have like 50% in ultimate skill in no time at all. Spend that meter. Now, let's talk the power of ultimate attacks. Because ultimate attacks are very strong. Much more than, say, they're an attack you spend meter on and do more damage. Like, that part's self-evident, I would think. But there's a lot of strong things about them. One, they stop time a little bit. And two, they usually offer properties that you can't get anywhere else. So, let's say Gran. Gran has, the basic fireball, right? Maybe not too amazingly impressive in and of itself. And, like, he has an EX fireball, sure. And sometimes if you time it correctly, it can beat out other people, but otherwise, like, they'll get a chance to block them, whatever, right? But the ultimate, on top of traveling very fast, has the time stop effect. So normally, say I see Catalina throw a fireball, even if I did my EX on reaction, I'm not really going to beat her. However, against my ultimate fireball, I will get her. I'll get it at the very tail end, right? Because there's a little bit of that time stop effect, and it's literally slowing down her recovery animation. She literally cannot finish the animation fast enough to block in time. That's all thanks to the ultimate. Can't get it outside of the ultimate. And this is every ultimate. Every ultimate has the time slow effect on the enemy. Some, in situations like this, lead to this exact scenario where you can get a punish on something purely reaction-based you couldn't otherwise, right? Which makes these moves really good for reaction checks. If you got quick fingers, lots of characters, their ultimate is designed exactly around that, right? You being fast enough to catch something, and then you can basically enforce a gotcha moment. A character like Lancelot, a big part of this character is his pressure just around his base fireball, right? It's not meant to win zoning wars, it's meant to lock you down. That's a big part of the character, right? And this takes that to its logical endpoint, I suppose. So if you even so much as block this, you're going to be penalized. Why? Because it puts a slow field. It puts an ice field around you. You block, look at this jump. Whoa, like you're on the moon, right? So this is a powerful status debuff where if you block, like no matter what, you're going to be slowed. And this is something you can only get through the power of an ultimate attack. This can also make characters who have certain deficiencies in certain areas much better off, like say Vasaraga. He does have an armor mechanic, yes, but it's not always going to be live. And when it doesn't have it live, his defense is very poor. But it actually, the ultimate version of one of his skills here, which is actually his command grab, actually makes it full invincible. It gives him a defensive option to work with. So here, we're getting hit by a super meaty attack, right? And nominally, other than like doing like, you know, your big boy super or something, you got no recourse other than they take the hit. However, using the break version of our grab, we can bypass the meaty. Frame 1 invincibility. It's not really something Vasaraga is known for, is like strong defense, especially when the armor's gone. And this gives him something he's otherwise very weak in. So once again, a very strong bonus for an ultimate skill. So offense, defensive, neutral, reactions, all that kind of stuff. Ultimate skills offer a lot for every character, and what they can offer can be very different for every character as well, for sure. But they're a new addition to the game, and they're a very powerful addition to the game. Make sure you know your ultimates for sure. So Super Skybound Arts, otherwise known as your Desperation Super. This is a super you can do when you're very low health. They're all cool, they're all cinematic, they all look flashy, they all do a lot of damage, right? So that's already good in and of itself. But they have a hidden bonus to them. So right now, I want you to look at this button specifically. Stand heavy, nothing flashy. Just stand heavy, regular old stand heavy. Note that it does 1300 damage. Now, we're going to do our Super Skybound Art, Big Desperation Super. We're going to see Vera go all crazy again. And the thing is, after this is all said and done, we're going to do stand heavy again. And now, 1560. Did 1300 before. Why is that? Because a Super Skybound Art steals 2 bravery points. Look here at Lowain's above his health bar here. He now only has 1 bravery point left. He started with 2. Just the simple act of doing the Skybound Art, regardless of, you know, if he did it neutral, if he did it in a combo, he did it whatever. Just doing it means basically you're going to do more damage to the enemy for the rest of the match. Because you took away 2 of their bravery points. If they already lost 1, they're going to lose all the bravery points, going to lose even more damage yet, right? So like right now, he's currently down 1 bravery point already, so he's going to be down 3 total now after the Super Skybound Art. And now once again, that heavy punch, right? Look at it. 1950. Used to do 1300. 1950 now. So just doing your big fancy cool super, you know, you always want to get the damage when you can, right? But keep in mind, it's even more deadly than the space damage. Like the comeback factor, as you would, is even bigger than you think it is normally, because basically they're always going to take more damage than they normally would after you land the super. So it is always in your interest, when you can, for that comeback factor alone, to land your big desperation super. Now, sort of a play on the last tip. We talked about how super Skybound arts are more deadly than you think because they can steal away bravery points, right? Keep in mind, super activations build bravery points. So sometimes that random super could save your life. Like we're down 2 points now. We're in the red zone. As you can see by the portrait, we're going to take more damage. Yet if I were to do Fairy's projectile super here, a good screen control one, just the activation alone gives us another bravery point. Like this is something you would probably want to aim for anyways, because this is a good screen control super, right? It lets you do a lot of fun things, lots of fun pressure. But also the act of it effectively, in a way, not directly, but indirectly heals you, right? Because it gives you more bravery points. And keep in mind, more bravery points means less damage, but also means potentially more offense. Now that I have an extra bravery point, maybe I can go in, I can get a guard break in, or I can get a fancier combo if I use the Raging Strike to just extend my combos, all that kind of stuff, right? More offense and more defense. So sometimes if you have a super that is not the worst to toss out in neutral, do it. Once again, meter builds very fast in this game, as we talked about earlier. It's, if you're going to do it in neutral anyways, why not? And it has the benefit of both upping your offense and defense because you get more brave points. Now keep in mind, they thought some of this through. So certain supers that are strictly buffs, installs as we would call them, right? Those will not return a bravery point because the whole point of a lot of these is you just do it neutral then go crazy. So there's almost nothing lost in this transaction. Therefore, it will not return you a bravery point. It has to be a super with like at least some kind of offense tied to it. Even if it's, slower offense, like say Fairy's big old super ball there, right? But still, keep in mind, supers are basically the only way you can rebuild these points. These points could be life or death, bravery points. So it's food for thought. If you got the meter and you got the opportunity, why not? Now, our final tip has to do with the importance of hitting people who are crouching versus standing. Sometimes in fighting games this matters, sometimes it doesn't, but in this game it definitely does. Let me give you an easy example here. So we'll do Siegfried here, basic string into the EX projectile. Looks cool, great, little bit of pushback. We're +8. Man, I wish I could like combo into stand medium. Like, we pushed him out a little bit, so like that would reach. But it's 9 frames, not 8 frames. Sucks for us. But now say the enemy was crouching. We do this thing. Wait a hot minute, it is 9 frames now. What's going on? Now all of a sudden that combo I was hoping I could get with stand medium, I can get now, right? Pretty much every attack across the board, no matter what it is. It could be +8, it could be +4, it could be like whatever it is, right? If you do it against a crouching foe, +9, +5, +3. Against a crouching foe, an attack, whatever the frame data may be on hit, will always be +1 more. Now, just so you know, because I know your mind might be going this way, this does not apply on block. So say this move here is +4 on block. This move here is -6 on block. If they are crouching, it is still going to be +4. It's still going to be -6. This only applies if you actually hit the enemy. But it is one of those deals where checking the frame data is very important, because sometimes if you see the numbers adding up in a certain way and you're only 1 frame off, that could be very much by design, because it's intended to work on someone who is crouching, but not on someone who is standing. Now, in Rising specifically, we do have ways to force crouch. So the universal guard crouch mechanic, if you do the follow-up, on a blocking enemy, it will always enforce the crouching state. So say that string we're doing before, right? We're going to do it here, do the follow-up. Now we're doing the string again, do this EX, +9 just like before. So on a guard break, and you do the follow-up on the guard break, if the opponent blocked, it's always going to be in the crouching state. If they get hit, well then they get hit, right? It's going to be a bounce instead, right? It's going to be an air combo, so not quite the same, but it is something. There are some ways to character-specific force people to crouch against their will, but at the bare minimum, everyone has the universal Raging Strike and the guard break mechanic, and that'll force crouches. Or, just in the course of the game, you catch people, maybe they're doing crouching moves, they could be doing something, you catch them with an overhead move, whatever it may be, you'll find them crouching anyways, regardless. And in all these scenarios where you can get the crouch, most of the casts can usually get a combo that can just sneak in just a little bit more damage than they otherwise could. So always pay attention for the crouch, because with more damage means potentially a big game win. And those are 10 essential tips for Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising. So hopefully these will help you out. It's a fun game. As far as fighting games go, it's certainly not the most complex. That's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing, especially if you're a beginner looking to dip your toes into just fighting games in general. There's certainly some stuff to it, but hopefully this video and these tips within have helped you out. There's also some other Granblue content on the channel. You can find that linked in the video description or just at the end of the video. Peruse that as you will. But otherwise, that is the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Granblue.